Hey friends, this is Ray Warda with RayWarda.com, an entrepreneur mindset and marketing blog, and founder of GCube Marketing, a marketing consulting company. I hope you're all doing well. I'm doing fabulous, and I thank God. I am happy today, and I'm thanking God that He has given me another day on this beautiful place we call Earth. In today's video, I wanted to discuss one word with you. The word fear. Now, fear, the reason this subject is very important to me because I still have challenges with fear at certain times and certain things. And it's what sometimes stands in the middle of our success, our accomplishments, and our potential. Okay, think of those words: success, accomplishments, and potential. You have let a four-letter word stand in between those three important items in your life. Well, fear is an illusion. Fear is also known as an acronym standing for false evidence appearing real, FEAR. Now, fear is really how your mind interprets the threat or danger at hand. Even the Bible talks about fear in a quote from Timothy 2, chapter 1, verse 7. And I'm going to read it out to you. It says, "For God did not give us a spirit of timidity, but a spirit of power, of love, and of self-discipline." The key word in that verse that I wanted to point out was timidity. Timidity means lacking in self-assurance, courage or bravery, easily alarmed, characterized, or by indicating fear. So that right there is an example of how fear fear doesn't come from God. It comes from the oppressor. Okay, it comes from the evil part of this world. So just think about that and think about how you have let fear put a control in your life. Now, sometimes we say, okay, well, it's not our fault. Our past may have dictated why we have fear in certain things. I'll give you a perfect example. We know that 5,000-6,000 years ago, when God created mankind, well, you had these people that were on this earth that were in constant fear. Human nature was in constant fear of their lives because they had to be on a constant watch against other predators and other humans, and predators like lions and tigers and leopards and looking for food. And of course, human beings were a source of food for them. It was sometimes a life and death situation facing these types of challenges. Now let's move forward at later times. And I'll give you another perfect example. I myself am an Assyrian Christian. And my ancestors are from the Middle Eastern descent, where almost all Assyrians lived and resided in the Middle Eastern countries such as Iraq, Iran, Syria, Lebanon, Turkey. Those were all formerly known as the Assyrian Empire back in history. Well, in the past 2,000 years, our people have been and still are being persecuted for their faith in Christianity. So as a culture, the Assyrian culture, our families and our ancestors have faced a lot of challenges and fears of losing their lives, their family members, their kids, their security, their freedom of living a good life and a prosperous life because of these acts. So taking a look at all of this stuff that our people faced in the past is a reason why sometimes we look at our families as being negative or as being fearful. And we look at my parents and my ancestors, my grandparents, and back, going back way back, we now understand, we kind of have an understanding as adults why they did the things that they did and lived very, very conservatively in a way where we had to fear on every step we took. Even though we're living in the United States, and most of us here living in the United States are living a comfortable life, with a roof over our heads, security and jobs and businesses to provide for the family. Well, heck, even in this beautiful country and many other countries, we can still practice our faith without having any fear. However, because that fear has been instilled in us, Now it takes kind of a different form of fear where it's fearing but in much smaller consequences, where it's not in a life or death situation, such as fear of public speaking. Many people have fears of speaking to the public or in front of a crowd, or speaking on the phone to an opposite sex, or even an entrepreneur making a cold call, sales call on the phone. All of a sudden they speak very naturally, they speak very comfortably around people, but when they get on that phone to make that phone call, all of a sudden their voice starts cracking. They have things that they start stuttering and all these kind of things. Or when they're in front of a camera, same thing happens. Well, don't get me wrong now, what happened in our past will not dictate our future unless we allow it to. So that's the problem that is existent right now. We're allowing what's happening in our past to come and haunt us now. And we have to stop that. I'll give you another perfect example, a live example, just this past weekend. Well, I was at a thing called, my sister-in-law took us to the beach, took us to the shore, and I want to show you what this thing is. I'm going to read to you what this thing is. She said she wants to take my wife and I to a rocky intertidal ecosystem and show us what it's all about. Well, when I heard intertidal, me as a California licensed real estate broker automatically thought title as in title company. So I'm thinking, oh, we're going to go see homes by the beach. We live right there, so it's like, okay, let's go see them and check them out. Maybe there's an open house we can walk into. Well, intertidal totally meant something different. She's a biology major, and she just graduated just this past couple of months with her bachelor's degree in biology. And one of her classes was marine biology, and they took the class trip to what's called a rocky intertidal ecosystem. And she wanted to show us the experience of us handling living organisms on the rocks in the water. Well, let me tell you what this exactly is. The rocky intertidal ecosystem is a world of extremes, a marine zone that sits at the juncture of crashing ocean waves, rocky shorelines. It takes the form of exposed rocky cliffs, boulder rubble, wave-pounded rocky shelves, and sheltered rocky shores. Now this sounds very exciting, not to me though. I'm not a marine biologist type of person, I'm far from that. Okay, but I did it because it was something I've never done. So she took my wife and I and my friend as well, and her and her husband, we all went there. And it's about I'd say about a quarter-mile walk in the sand, and then the rest of the 3/4 mile is all rocks and gravel and the boulder rubble and all these rocky shelves. Well, as you can imagine, these get very slippery because we're going during low tide where the tide is all the way in, where we're able to walk on these rocks. If it's high tide, of course, it's all covered with water. Well, anyway, we go there, and of course, 3/4 of the way on the rocks, and I'm being confident, and I'm walking like a stud. I can do this, and what happens? Boom! I fall. I fall on the rocks, I slip and fall, and I fall so hard that when I was trying to stop myself from falling, I actually hurt my quads because I put so much force on my right leg to stop from falling, although I didn't stop from falling. I fell, and I fell pretty hard, and I got scrapes to prove it. I got scrapes on my elbows, my knees, and my calves, and actually here you can see my little cut there if you can see it on the screen. But anyway, I'll get over it. I'm alive. Thank God. All right. So anyway, we were right immediately when that happened, all of a sudden, I had that fear now instilled in me because of what pain that I had caused right there when I fell. And all of a sudden, my wife's next to me, and now I'm thinking twice after I got up. I'm thinking twice of taking another step forward. So I took a few steps, but the main thing was my quads cramped up so hard that I could barely walk. So what happened was I was thinking, okay, if I continue to move forward, on the way back, I got still a mile to go, and I got to walk all the way back on these rocks. It's not going to happen. I'm going to probably have a helicopter come pick me up, and it's not going to be fun. So I said, okay, why don't you guys go, and I'm going to start heading back because I had a very tight cramp in my quad, and I just didn't want to move forward. So as I was walking back, of course, my beautiful wife was there in support of me, walking back with me. I was taking baby steps coming back. And she kept telling me, come on, I'm with you. Don't worry. Let's go. Let's walk. And I'm taking baby steps. Well, that's the thing. It's like when you have pain associated with something that happened to you, or a suffering, or a challenge, or an obstacle that was in your way and you weren't able to overcome it, all of a sudden that fear is being carried over to the other things that you do. And that's not good, folks. That's not how you want to be living, because it's not worth living a life that you are, stuck in that fear. Just like some people are scared of dogs. You walk down the street, one person might say, oh my God, the dog's going to eat me the way he's looking at me. Well, then the other person that's with you, they're like, oh my God, how cute and adorable. It's just two different reactions, same animal. Okay, so that tells us right there that it's really just a perception of how you are perceiving that dog looking at you. So here's some tips that I wanted to share with you, 4 tips on how to help you overcome your fear. And I'm talking to myself when I'm talking about this too, because it helps me as well to think of these tips myself. So what I try to do is I try to do small tasks to build confidence. So if I have to do reach a goal, or if I have to do a big task, I'm going to start doing the small tasks. For example, if you're fear of speaking and you have a speaking event, well, instead of going out automatically speaking to 400 or 500 people, speak to 2 or 3 people in a small group, maybe a group of friends. Get confident in yourself, build that confidence, get prepared, and then you'll be able to take that bigger task. But always start in small tasks to build confidence. Confidence is the big thing in fear, to overcome fear. Tip number 2, focus on one task at a time and not the greater magnified result. I'm going to give you a perfect example about Michael Jordan. When Michael Jordan was playing, he took many game-winning shots. But one thing that he thought of when he was taking the shot was the shot itself. He was not thinking about the outcome. Okay? And here's this quote that says this. It says, I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I've failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed. So that tells you that he was looking at the smaller picture in the beginning. He was looking at the shot itself rather than the outcome. When you look at the shot itself, you're more focused. You're laser focused on that particular shot. Okay? So that helps you get to the outcome. When you're focusing on the smaller task at hand, which is the actual shot. Okay? Tip number 3, focus on the positive things on the other side of the grass, like they say. Not the negative things or the maybes or the what ifs. Okay? What if our lives go in a different direction? Or what if I go on stage and make a mistake and everybody starts laughing at me? Or what if I start my own company and I can't have clients? Well, now you're losing faith in yourself. Think about it. If you begin your own business and think about how unsuccessful you'll be, well, guess what? You're going to be unsuccessful. Okay? It's just a matter of, that's just the way it is. Our lives go where our attention flows. Okay? So if our attention is stuck on the bad stuff, it's stuck on the negativity, this is the direction our life is going to take. Okay? So make sure you get out of that negative rut. You get into stuff more positive. Think about more positivity, about what the outcome can be, about what the result can be, about the task itself. Think about the positive things that can happen. And trust me, I wanted to also give you an example here about having your own business. And people think about, okay, starting a business. They think, okay, it's hard. I'm going to lose a lot of things. I'm going to have some change, and thinking about change, I'm going to give you tip number 4. Learn to see change as a gain Learn to see challenge as an opportunity. When you begin to see change as something that may come in a great gain of some sort, this is when you'll be successful and achieve that success that you need. You need to see what the gain is instead of the loss. So for example, when I was talking about starting your own business, don't think about, okay, if I start my own business, I'm going to lose my 401k from my employer, or I'm going to lose my steady check that I get from my employer. Instead, think about the gain of how much financial gain you're going to get to build a bigger and larger 401k or financial security, because now you're not setting limits. You don't have limits set on your paycheck. You don't have somebody telling you how much you're worth, or how much your pay is worth for the job that you're doing. You create your own limits at that point. Okay? Have confidence in yourself. So with that said, limits are there in your life currently because it's the ones that you have set yourself. So no matter what has happened in the past, what your family has become, what your loved ones have experienced, your life is unique. Your life is different. You have to give yourself that credit and stop robbing yourself away of that potential that you have in your life because of this little 4-letter word called fear. If you need help, I always go to God. That's the first thing I go to, is God, to help me through the good times and the bad times, not just the bad times or the times that I'm struggling. It's also the good times because I need to be thankful. Okay? Either way, I trust in Him that He's always going to be there for me. That's something that you may need to do. Don't fear. Move forward. Be an inspiration to people. Be an inspiration to your people around you. Remember, try to set that legacy to your family and friends around you that they will never forget for years and years and years to come. It's your choice. I wish you the best of success in your personal and business life. I'm always recommending everybody out there to live extraordinary lives, be extraordinary in all that you do. And I can guarantee you that once you start overcoming that fear in small steps, you will see things that you can do that you never thought that could have been done. I appreciate your time. Have a wonderful day, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Thanks a lot.